Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nut podcast number 1914, Sorting Sunday. Oh, we've had some fun today. We started off, we went for our walk, we came home. Did we have breakfast? No, we didn't have breakfast. I thought, let's go out and we are going to go. We went for our walk. Let's go grab breakfast because we haven't done that for a while, gone out and got breakfast for a while. So I thought, we can go get breakfast for a while. And then I thought, well, maybe we'll go to the RV and do some sorting over there. Well, when we got to, we actually went to Carl's Jr. and got one of their breakfast burgers because they're so good. Plus, they also gave me a discount on the combo meal as well. So that was even better. And just as we're leaving there, my phone rings and it's a friend of mine, and we end up having this great conversation. And so I'm driving. So I thought, well, I'll go to the dog park instead. And so I'm driving over the dog park, kind of got a little lost because I took a right instead of a left at a particular intersection. So I found somewhere to park and we just sat there and chatted and had a great conversation, very enlightening conversation. And then when that conversation was over, I then started heading back to where the dog park was. And we got to the dog park and we ended up walking. They've got a lake there where the park's part of the city council building complex area thing. The library's at one end, they've got a dog park at the other end, they've got this big lake in the middle that we can go fishing. And so we ended up walking around the lake, and then we went to the dog park. And what does Zeffie do? Instead of doing her normal, oh my gosh, we're at the dog park, get me off my leash, let's go. No, she just wandered over here and wandered over there and wandered around the fence line and didn't run anyway, didn't do any Zooms, which was surprised me because every time I go to the dog park, she's eager to get off the leash and run, just go. And I'm like, well, this is kind of strange. She's normally gone and running around, but nope, she just meandered over here. And then at one point she goes and she lays in the shade of this tree and just lays there. And I'm like, okay, normally after 30 seconds, she's up and off again. She was the complete opposite of what she normally is at the dog park. So I looked at her and says, do you just want to go home? And she just looks at me and starts wandering over to the gate. I'm like, well, I guess we're going home then. But then I thought I'd taken her for 2 big walks that morning too. So we'd done our normal morning walk was, I didn't bring my water in with me, was really good. We got out there just after the sun rose this morning, and that was like somewhere around 6:40, I think it was. It rose this morning, somewhere around there. And we're out, and of course, I'm thinking, I haven't seen any hot air balloons up for a while. And I wonder if there'll be any up. Being a Sunday, and normally on a weekend you see multiple balloons up, and they're up for the sunrise, that sort of thing. Couldn't see any. So then we get to this one place, which is up by the children's play area, and I look back down the greenway, and there's a single one balloon, hot air balloon in the air, quite clearly up. And I'm like, cool, that's either coming down or is it going up or is it coming down? The sun's already up, and what's going on here? And I only see one, or any others hidden behind trees. As we're walking along this path, I'm like, I keep looking back, only ever see the one balloon. 5 minutes later, we're back at the playground area because we had taken this walk, gone down this path and come back again. And I look up, there are 6 balloons in the air. I'm like, where the freak did those come from? Like, they are well up, and one of them's like way up here. There's several of them down here. Quite clearly, they'd been up for some time. And I thought, well, maybe they're not taking off over in that direction, drifting that way. Maybe they're taking off in that direction and drifting this way. And I thought, there's 6 balloons up. I've only been, I turned my back for literally 5 minutes because I know how long it takes us to walk that particular route. And it was 5 minutes. And I'm like, that was really fast for those. Those things are fast. They must have like little motors on them or something. Yep, nope. And so then I'm back and I'm up walking, and I knew that I was 5 minutes. It would take me 5 to 7 minutes to walk home from where we were. And so we're walking along. We meet one of the people who are out. And we're on the little side street there by our mailbox when I meet up with one of the other people who are usually out walking their dog, and she's got this little dog. And she goes, oh, did you see the balloons up there? I says, yeah. I says, that was really weird because I told her where I was and I'd only seen the one. I said, 5 minutes. And I took this route, came back to that, 5 minutes later, and she knew the route. And she goes, oh, yeah. She says, that's not a very long route. I says, yeah, I know. And I said, but there were 6 balloons up there from 1 to 6. I said, I don't know. And she's like, isn't that weird? I then come out of the corner of our little street here where our mailbox is, and I look straight ahead up in the sky. I can see 8 balloons up there. I'm like, okay, 5 to 7 minutes from where I saw the 6 balloons. Now I see 8, and they all look like they're in this. And I thought, okay, the angle, I've moved it to a different angle. I totally get that. And now there's 8 that looks like they're in a small cluster rather than very scattered out like they look from the other viewpoint. So it was these balloons were getting scary. They were just like multiplying right there in the sky in front of my eyes. So I don't know. But we're talking about going up in hot air balloon. She says, I'm just afraid of heights. I don't want to go up there. I says, well, I would absolutely love to go out there, but I just don't want to do it by myself. I said, if I'm going to go for a balloon ride, I want it to be a special occasion with somebody special. And she says, oh, I totally understand that. And I said, yes, my late husband always said he'd take me up in one and never did. Like he told me he'd take me to New England. We never made it to New England. So she just starts laughing and we go off on her day. And so that's when we decided to go out and get breakfast. And we were going to go to the RV. We ended up at the dog park. Doing a nice long walk, and we did a nice long walk around the lake that they have there. And of course, by the time Zeffie got to the dog park, she was sort of like, I'm done for the day. And so then we came back home and just got started in on, she's there. I opened up the front door, put her bed in the front door like I do when it's nice and cool in the mornings. And it was a beautiful morning this morning. And she went and laid in that. And I thought, well, while you're laying in that, I'm going to go and I'm going to sit in my recliner. I'm going to enjoy my recliner for a little bit. And so I sat there and read for a little bit, watched a couple of little videos and things, and just, for an hour or something, just relaxed. And it was just nice. I thought, when did I last get a chance to sit in my recliner without being frowned at? Every time I have gotten into my recliner in front of Zeffie, she just sits there and she just glares at me with this look on her face. It's like, you are in my chair. Today, none of that. And so I thought, well, this is kind of cool. I actually get to sit in my recliner and enjoy my recliner. So I did that for a bit. And then it was kind of like lunchtime at that point. So I had lunch. And then this afternoon, I thought, let's see how many boxes we can clear. So I actually went and moved the recycle bin because the recycle bin is on the far side of the garage. And I thought, I really don't want to have to traipse through the garage to get there. So I moved it over here. So it's now by the garage door, the door leading into the garage from the house. And I had a bit of stuff to take out, so I just propped open the door. I had the lid open on the garbage, on the recycling bin, and I just walking stuff out there, dropping it in, walking out, dropping it in. And then I actually emptied 2 boxes today. Did shred quite a bit. There was some stuff I know and I thought, hang on, I'm supposed to be putting the shredding stuff aside. And then I'm like, this is very sensitive information on this that needs to be destroyed. So I'm actually going to do this now. Other stuff that is just like general stuff, we'll put that through a shredder truck. But this is, and I'm right here, and where I was standing was right next to the shredder anyway, and so it's just easy to just go and put stuff in there. And as I was, I found stuff from when I was on the Disney Wonder back in 2012. Found our program for that because I was on there as part of my Disney certifications and stuff. I finished all my Disney certifications for doing cruises and land and all that sort of thing. And we had, they were trying this new program of taking agents from to visit, well, because they did it here in California, and they did it in California, we did Disneyland and whatever the other Disney park, the 2 Disney parks. We got taken to the hotels that are in that complex there, and we got to stay the night in the hotel. We actually got VIP viewing at the World of Color. In Disney Adventures. Is Disney Adventures the other park? I can't remember. But we went through the Wilderness Lodge to get there, and we got led through there to where we got to stand there. And when we got back to our room, I looked out the window and I said to Melissa, who was my roommate, a good friend of mine and also my roommate, I said to her, I says, we would have had, I says, yes, it was wonderful to be down there, but the crowds were too few. I said, we could have sat up here in comfort on our beds with the blinds open and watched the entire World of Color from a great viewpoint up here. So I've got to find out what room number, because at some point I would like to go back there and stay at that hotel again and see if I can get that same room number so I can sit there and open up the blinds and watch World of Color from up there. And we would have been able to open the windows and heard the music and everything. We would have had the best seats in the house where we didn't have to stand amongst the crowd because there was no seating, it was all standing. But it was a lot of fun. And so we spent the night there at the hotel, and then the next day they put us on a bus and took us out to Disney Wonder, which was doing a 7-night cruise down the Mexican Riviera. And we got all checked in and everything else. And then they, because part of the thing is that when you're a travel professional and they take you on board the ships, they take you on after the ship has been cleared from disembarkation, And before they allow you to put passengers on the ship again, they actually allow travel professionals to go on and they can do tours. And we had a sheet of all the rooms that we could go and have a look at. We were not allowed to take any photographs in any room because they were not show ready. That was the specific thing that we were told, that we could not take photographs because the rooms were not show ready. And the housekeeping supervisor had to go through and declare the room show ready before they would allow, and all the rooms had to be declared show ready before they would allow anybody to go into their cabins. Now, the cool part is that normally when you're on a ship inspection, is you've got certain rooms that they allow you to go and that they take you on to go see. It's either a guided tour or self-guided, depending on the cruise line. This one was guided. And they take you to, like, this is where all the public areas are. This is the suite. And they usually take you to the suites first because the suite guests are allowed on first before they start general boarding. And so those are the rooms they take us to first. So we get to see them before the guests get to see them. And so they took us to see the suites first, and then they took us all over the ship, and we got to see areas of the ship that we wouldn't normally get to see, being if we were a passenger on board. And we got taken up into the teens area. Now, on the Disney Wonder, if you have a look, they have two funnels. They have two funnels on the Disney Wonder. One of them is real. The other one is fake. Up inside this fake one is the teens area. They've got beanbags up there. They've got areas where they can watch movies. They've got this whole, like, discussion vibe thing up there that they can do. They've got board games up there they can play. They've got a whole setup up there for the teenagers. It was awesome. And was like, I want to come stay up here. And we also got taken down into the area where they have the little ones, and they have the stage set there. The characters come in often and interact with the children while they're in the kids club. And they had a whole room full of costumes, and all different costumes, all different sizes, all Disney costumes, all different sizes that the kids could put on. They had a stage there so they could put their own little plays on. Then they had a hallway that went from that room through to the lab, which was, I think, that was for the older kids, the 6 to 11-year-olds, so that those that had younger siblings, they could go backwards and forwards. But in the lab, they got to do all these experiments and stuff and make racing cars and volcanoes and all this sort of like science stuff. And it was just really cool. We were like, can we stay? Well, we promise we'll walk on our knees if we can stay. And like, we were begging the cast crew, the cast members to let us stay. And they're not crew, they were cast members. And they were like, no. Door, go. So we're like, okay. But the cool part about this thing is that, and then they took us to lunch and all that sort of stuff. But the cool part is that we didn't have to leave the ship. And it was the first time I'd done a ship inspection where I didn't have to leave the ship as everybody was starting to come on. And so we went and stood in the lobby area watching people come on. This is watch people come on. And they were actually announcing families as they came on, like, welcome aboard the Smith family, welcome aboard the Brahms family, welcome aboard the Jones family. And people were just like, and the kids would like, they said our name. They were like, oh, surprise, for those that had never been on Disney before. So it was actually really cool to watch that. And was like, we didn't get that experience, but that was okay. We got to watch people having that experience, and that was perfectly fine. And the reaction on the kids' faces when they heard their names being called out was just priceless. It was awesome. So anyway, so back to what we're doing today. So I found all that stuff from that cruise in one of the boxes I got to sort, and I'm like, oh, do I throw it out? Do I not? And I thought, this is stuff that's meant to be going into my scrapbooking and my memories and all that sort of stuff. So I have to figure out, get it scanned, figure out to scan it and put it electronically as well. And yeah, I've got to figure out all of that because I still have all my scrapbooking supplies and everything else. They'll be going with me so I can make up all my scrapbooks and all that sort of stuff with all this stuff. So yeah, it was fun going through that. But I also came across another book, and this is a book I've absolutely loved over the years. I don't remember when I first read it. I think it was like the 80s when I first read it. This book, I got it at the used bookstore, but this one was reprinted in 1973. It's a reprint from 1973. And this is a story. This is a really cool story. It's only 9 chapters and an epilogue. A preface, 9 chapters and an epilogue. It is a really cool story. It was the first time I had read anything about autism. And this is a family. It's called The True Story of an Autistic Child for the Love of Anne. And it was by James Copeland, based on the diary of Jack Hodges. And this is the cover of the book. You can see it's an old book. And this is the back of the book. And on the back, it says, the doctor cleared his throat and spoke very quietly. I am so very sorry to have to tell you this, but I'm afraid our tests show that it is extremely unlikely that your daughter will ever be educated, or for that matter, that she will ever be able to recognize you as her parents. That was in 1958, and Anne Hodges was 6 years and 8 months old. Today, that same girl is in her 20s, full of charm, devoted to her parents and her brothers, and excitedly taking in the world and the challenges. Between those two dates lies a remarkable story, a story of love born out of hopelessness and ignorance and nurtured in years of tears and joy, all for the love of Anne. And I have to tell you, this book was just incredible. The stuff this family had to go through, the stuff that now when you're reading this book, I'm going to give you if you ever get a hold of a copy of this book. Sorry. Somebody wants to go for a WA. Okay. Just in a few minutes, sweetie girl. You have to remember the time that this book was written. These parents, the Hodges took on a very difficult challenge of trying to communicate with their daughter and having their daughter communicate with them. They refused to put her into any special education, any institutes or anything like that. They treated her as a normal child, even though she had these challenges. She was disciplined as they were disciplined back in those days. And there were times that they couldn't get through to her, and she'd be sitting on a chair and looking at the wall, and there'd be just the wallpaper on the wall, and she'd start laughing at the wall. And it wasn't until years later when she could communicate with them, they said, when you sit on the, there's times you were sitting in a chair and just looking at the wall and just start laughing. She goes, I was watching the teddy bears dance across the wall. And I'm like, I love that. But the challenges that they faced with a daughter with autism was just incredible, and how they ended up breaking through to her, and her being able to learn once they got through that communication barrier, how they were able to teach her and raise her to become a beautiful, confident woman. There was times like, they even described her walk in there. She had this really weird walk that she would do. They described the heartache that they had in there, the triumphs that they had along the way, and also a lot of heartache. And it really is a book of all for the love of Anne, what they did out of love for her so that she could turn into a normal human being. They were not going to allow the doctors to say, she'll never communicate, she'll never be educated, she'll never recognize you as your parents. They wouldn't accept that fact. And that was the first time I'd ever read such a powerful book before. Most of the time up until then, I had read biographies and that sort of stuff, but it was sort of at the age level that, at school level and all that sort of stuff. And I'd read, but this one just had an impact on me and has for years. And I have read this on and off over the years. Absolutely love this book. So if you are able to find a copy of this book, if I remember correctly, that's based in England. Yeah. If you ever get to find a copy of this book, either Audible, I don't even know if it's available audibly or not, or find it in a secondhand store or something like that. It is a great read, but please remember to put it in the context of this was 1956 when they were told about this. Raising children in 1956 to how children are raised today is very different. But it is a very, very powerful book about these parents would not give up on their daughter no matter what, and how they eventually broke through to her and got her to communicate with them and everything else. And they got to at one point there, they were, if she wouldn't communicate with words, they would ignore her until, if she wanted something, she had to ask for it. And that's what they told us is, no, you're going to have to ask for it. You need to ask for it. If you want a glass of juice, ask for a glass of juice. And even though it broke their heart to refuse their daughter something, it eventually got through to her what she had to do. So very, very powerful book. Great read. Maybe you should go back and read that again because it's such a good book. Such a really good book. I mean, she was born in 1952. Look at that cute little picture there. She was 10 months old. And they think part of the autism is that she got so cold while they were I seem to remember this is the one where the baby got left out on the end of the bed. The house was freezing cold and her temperature had dropped or something at that point. That they think that may have been what triggered it. I don't know. But so I did that. Did some clearing out. And then after I'd done the clearing out, I got 2 boxes cleared and I thought, I'm done. I got 2 boxes done. And my goal was to get 2 done. And then it got to the point where it was like, I am really thirsty. I need to sit down and have a drink. And I thought, I'm going to have a protein shake. So I went and made a protein shake. And I actually wanted to go out and get ice cream. And I suddenly thought, we really don't need ice cream right now. But I can get close by making a protein shake. And in there I put mixed berries. The protein powder is unflavored. It's blend protein powder, but I put in there the cacao powder. I put in there coconut sugar. I put in there mixed berries. I had chia seeds in there. Apple cider vinegar was in there. A little bit of the creamer that I have. What else did I have? Water. And it made a very nice, refreshing, and that got rid of my ice cream craving. So, and it was chocolate flavored mixed berries. So, win-win. And of course, the box thing, we're not looking at the second box tonight. The second box is we're opening up on Friday, November the 1st, when we start James Bond Fest week. And so then today I also got to dive into this a little more, because we're going to be discussing this book on Saturday, because this is our book of the month for October. If you want a copy of it, grab it up here in the top corner here. Just scan the code and it will take you right to the book. But we're going to be discussing this book on Saturday, November the 2nd at 9 a.m. Pacific time. This is a really cool book. I can't tell you this. I'm not going to tell you what's happening in there, but it's really cool. It's a very, very, very good read. I've got it on Audible as well, so I can listen and read it at the same time. But today, while I was sorting boxes, I was listening to it. And I was just like, hang on, I got to go back here. Click the 30-second back button and listen again. Okay, I did hear that correctly. Wait, what? Did I hear that correctly? Yeah, I did. So, it's shaping up to be a very good book. So I am looking forward to discussing this book with the book club on Saturday. Anybody is free to join the book club and come along and listen to us on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Just look for the Love to Read book club on Facebook, and it's LOVE, it's number 2 Read book club. And you can also find our event on Eventbrite as well. So you can register there, or you can register through the event page. But that is it from us. I'm off to take my DOG for another WALK. It's going to be 3 big walks. It's going to be, 3 walks that she's had today. So, she's basically slept the whole day. Even usually when I'm sorting boxes, she comes over and sniffs around like, what are you doing? What's going on? Today, she just laid there and watched me. She just stayed in the doorway. We had the door open until midday when it got too warm to keep the door open. When the temperature inside the house gets, I have it set to 77 degrees for the AC to come on at that point. When the house temperature gets up there, that's when we close the door. Because I know it's going to get a little on the toasty side if it gets any warmer in here. And when I'm racing around just sorting through stuff and everything else, it's But we'll probably go and do that and come back. Maybe I'll sort another box before we sit down and relax for the evening. What are we doing? We're binging on White Collar at the moment. I'd never seen the TV series when it was on TV, so we're up towards the end of season 3, I think. Yeah, I think it's the end of season 3. And so we just relax and watch that in the evenings and that sort of stuff, just to wind down and then head off to bed. And I got 3 busy days coming up because I'm starting work at 7 o'clock in the morning for the next 3 days, finishing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then on Thursday, I get back to my regularly scheduled day. But anyway, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. We'll catch you back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you're waiting for the other snack box to open, that's November 1st, because we're going to be doing a snack a day along with a James Bond movie a day, because November 1st, we start with Dr. No and go through the 25 Eon production Dr. No movies. We're going to follow that by Casino Royale from 1967 with David Niven, and then Never Say Never Again with Sean Connery from 1983. And we're going to end it up with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the musical movie, which was written by, the books were, I think it was 3 books, were written by Ian Fleming, and were published after he passed away. He actually finished writing them, but never lived to see them get published. So this is a tribute to Ian Fleming. We finish it off with him. But there's a couple of James Bond characters, well, not characters, but actors in there. So you got Desmond Llewellyn in there, plays the junkyard guy. And then the guy that played Goldfinger, he's in there and he plays the Baron in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So with that, we're out of here. Go have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you want to join us on Saturday at November 2nd, go grab a copy of the book up here. Just scan the QR code to grab a copy of this book. It is a psychological thriller or just a thriller. I can't remember. I think it's a psychological thriller. It's a really cool book. That's all I'm